The transport pod materialized in the wrong sector of New Terra Colony, and Jerael knew immediately that something had gone terribly wrong. She had been purchased legally, according to the Intergalactic Marriage Accords, by a wealthy human merchant named Vincent Harrow. The contract had been clear. She would serve as a companion bride to a successful trader in Sector 7 Alpha, living in luxury aboard his flagship vessel. Her family's debts would be cleared, and she would want for nothing. It was a common arrangement among her species, the Velkari, whose matriarchal society often sent daughters to forge alliances across the stars. But the coordinates that flickered across her translator implant told a different story. This wasn't Sector 7 Alpha. This was Sector 12 Omega, the forgotten edge of the colony where failed ventures and broken dreams accumulated like cosmic dust. The pod's door hissed open, and Jerael stepped onto cracked plasteel flooring. The dwelling before her was modest, a prefabricated hab unit that had seen better decades. Paint peeled from its corrugated walls, and one of the windows had been patched with industrial tape. This couldn't be right. A man emerged from the dwelling, and Jerael's 4 eyes widened in recognition. This was Vincent Harrow, but not the Vincent Harrow from the promotional hollows. That man had stood tall and confident, draped in expensive fabrics. This Vincent was gaunt, his face lined with exhaustion that spoke of years scraping by. His clothes were clean but worn, patched in places. You're actually here," Vincent said, his voice cracking. When the company went bankrupt, I thought they'd cancel the contract." Jerael's translator processed his words, but she struggled to process the situation. "There has been an error. I was to be delivered to Sector 7 Alpha, I know," Vincent interrupted, shame coloring his features. "That's where I lived. 3 years ago, before the market crash. Before everything—" He gestured helplessly at the shabby dwelling. "I can't afford to send you back. The return fee alone would—" He stopped, shoulders sagging. "I'm sorry. This is a nightmare for you." Before Jerael could respond, she heard it, a rhythmic mechanical whirring from inside the dwelling. A moment later, a boy emerged in a powered wheelchair, its servos humming as it navigated the uneven threshold. "Dad, who's—" "Oh." The boy couldn't have been more than 14 Earth years. His legs, thin and motionless beneath a thermal blanket, told a story of their own. But his eyes, bright, intelligent, curious, fixed on Jerael with wonder rather than fear. "You're a Velkari. I've read about your species. Your homeworld has 1.4 times Earth gravity, and your people can see in ultraviolet spectrums." "Thomas, please," Vincent said quietly. "Go back inside." "It's quite all right," Jerael said, surprised by her own words. Something about the boy's genuine interest disarmed her. "Yes, young one. You are correct on both counts." Thomas wheeled closer, his chair stuttering over a crack in the flooring. "I'm sorry about the chair. I built it myself from salvaged parts, but the left servo keeps glitching." He looked up at his father. "Did you actually order a mail-order bride, Dad?" "That's so retro." "Thomas—" "It was a business arrangement," Jerael interjected, studying the boy with growing fascination. "You built this mobility device yourself?" "Had to. Medical-grade wheelchairs cost more than we make in 5 years." Thomas shrugged, but there was no self-pity in his voice, only pragmatism. "I've been working on an exoskeleton design too, but the power supply calculations are tricky. Human muscle-to-weight ratios make the energy requirements—" He stopped, flushing. "Sorry, I talk too much about engineering stuff." Jerael crouched down, bringing herself to eye level with the boy. On her homeworld, she had been a biotech engineer before her family's financial collapse. "The energy requirements are substantial," she agreed. "But have you considered bioelectric capacitors? Your body generates more than enough residual electricity to power a lightweight frame." Thomas's eyes went wide. That's brilliant. I never thought about harvesting the body's own electrical field. But the interface would need to be subdermal, yes. Approximately 47 nodes positioned along the major nerve clusters. You know biotech?" Thomas breathed. "I was a senior engineer before." Jerael trailed off, glancing at Vincent, who watched the exchange with something like hope flickering in his tired eyes. The evening that followed was unlike anything Jerael had anticipated. Vincent apologized profusely, explaining how he'd taken the contract when times were better. hoping to provide companionship for himself and a maternal figure for Thomas. The accident that had paralyzed his son had also bankrupted them. Medical bills, experimental treatments, all for naught. They survived on Vincent's meager wages at the colony recycling plant and Thomas's small income from selling custom-coded software to other settlers, as they shared a modest meal of synthesized protein and actual vegetables. A luxury, Thomas proudly explained. From his hydroponic window box, Jerael found herself asking questions. About Thomas's designs, about the colony's limited resources, about their dreams. "I want to walk again," Thomas said simply, no false bravado in his voice. "Not because I'm ashamed of the chair, but because I want to explore. The canyon south of here, the crystal caves, all the places the chair can't go." He smiled. "Dad says I'll invent my way there eventually." "You will," Jerael said, and meant it. That night, unable to sleep in the small guest alcove Vincent had cleared for her, Jerael accessed the intergalactic marriage accords through her neural implant. The contract was binding, but the return clause had a loophole. Mutual dissolution required both parties' consent within 30 days. She could leave. Vincent would sign the papers. She could return to her homeworld, her debt still unpaid, but free. Or Jerael thought of Thomas's brilliant mind trapped in a body that wouldn't cooperate, of Vincent's quiet dignity in the face of crushing poverty, of the way neither of them had treated her like property or even a disappointment, but simply as a person. Humans were strange. Their bodies were fragile, breaking so easily under stresses that Velkari biology would shrug off. Their societies were chaotic, their economies volatile. They lived such short lives, burning bright and fast, but they dreamed. Oh, how they dreamed. The next morning, Jerael found Thomas in the dwelling's tiny workshop, surrounded by holographic projections of mechanical systems. "I've been thinking about your exoskeleton," she said. Thomas looked up, surprise and cautious hope warring on his young face. "If we work together," Jerael continued, "I believe we can have a prototype within 6 months. My knowledge of bioelectric systems combined with your mechanical engineering, it's possible." "You're staying?" Thomas whispered. Jerael smiled, the gesture feeling natural despite her alien features. "The contract requires a 30-day trial period. Let's see what we can build in that time." She didn't tell him that she'd already decided, that somewhere between the cracked plasteel and the salvaged wheelchair, between a father's quiet love and a son's unquenchable dreams, she'd found something no contract could quantify. She'd found a purpose, and perhaps in time a home.